Episode 605. The pro players were watching with intense excitement when suddenly a loud bang echoed from the arena. Not too massive, but clearly a small explosion. Where's the explosion? On Huang Shaotian. Huang Shaotian was lost in confusion, and so were the spectators. Only the players of the corresponding classes instantly recognized what that familiar skill was.
It's mechanical pursuit.
Mechanical tracking is just a low-level mechanic skill unlocked at level 5. It sends out a small self-destructing robot that scuttles along the ground, searching for its target. Of course, this skill falls within the unspecialized reach. But when did this guy even use a mechanical tracker on the ground? Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, no one had noticed a thing. The only way to get to the bottom of this was to study the footage later. And now, after the mechanical tracking bot exploded against Troubling Rain, Lord Grimm immediately launched an aggressive assault. He tossed the grenade backhanded, as if it had already left his hand the moment he landed. This normally wouldn't have been dangerous, but with the mechanical tracker locked onto Troubling Rain, everything changed. In truth, any attack produces a stun effect. It's just a matter of degree. Skills like Dragon Tooth, for instance, produce a stun effect that can even be measured in seconds, and that will be specifically noted in the description. As for the vast majority of skill descriptions that don't mention a stun effect, the duration is usually just a fleeting instant, something players have to rely on experience and instinct to catch. This is one of the clearest differences between an expert and an ordinary player. Why is it that when experts chain skills together, their combos land perfectly, but ordinary players always get their combos broken so easily? It was precisely because the expert had mastered the rhythm of their skills, landing each blow exactly on that critical point. So theoretically, a flawless combo does exist. It's just that pulling it off is far, far too difficult. Even the most elite players can only do their best. There's no such thing as landing every single attack perfectly. But in this moment, Yi Shu had at least pulled it off. Huang Shaotian hadn't taken that grenade seriously at all, but after the little robot from the mechanical seeker blew up in his face, wanting to take it seriously was no longer an option. A stun so brief most people wouldn't even register it existed, and it landed right when the grenade struck Troubling Rain. No matter how fast his reflexes or his hands, at that moment there was absolutely nothing he could do. The grenade detonated, and the blast wave surged toward Troubling Rain. This, too, was clearly part of Yi Shu's calculation. The force of the explosion would send him exactly where he needed to go. Lord Grimm had already charged toward that position. Huang Shaoqin certainly wasn't going down without a fight, but he realized with frustration that his aerial mobility skills, Falling Phoenix Slash and Silver Light Drop, were both on cooldown. If you could freely soar while launched, then being launched wouldn't be the prime opportunity for follow-up attacks that players treat it as. With no skills left to use, Huang Shaotian could only stare helplessly as Lord Grimm charged in and slammed him back to the ground with a mountain-splitting strike. Troubling Rain wasn't about to go down that easily. A quick recover was basic for a player of their caliber. If they couldn't pull it off, that would have been a major blunder. Huang Shaotian, of course, made no such mistake. The moment Troubling Rain touched the ground, it rolled away. But even for experts at this level, a quick recover could prevent a knockdown without guaranteeing an end to the opponent's assault. In a duel of this caliber, a quick recover must be followed by a counterattack if you want to turn the tide. Huang Shaotian's Troubling Rain barely rolled a body length before launching into a sudden leap, body horizontal and parallel to the ground, spinning like a top. The sword tip, already arcing over his head, carved out several sword circles in an instant, twisting toward the pursuing Lord Grimm. This is the Blade Master's level 45 skill, Reverse Gale Thrust. While Reverse Gale Thrust only attacks directly forward, its coverage area is quite large. Moreover, the sword circles it traces are entirely controlled by the player's own actions, so whether you jump up or roll down, it's extremely difficult to break through the encirclement of those sword circles. Yi Shu made a decisive call. No head-on clash. Instead of stopping Lord Grimm, he had him pull back sharply. Sure enough, the moment he stepped back, Troubling Rain's sword circle, already fully extended, suddenly thrust forward another half step. This is a little trick blade masters use with this skill, a deliberate sleight of hand. Instead of pushing the attack to its maximum range, they hold back, leaving a bit in reserve. An inexperienced player would think they were out of range, only to be caught off guard when the swordsman suddenly lunged forward and got caught in the blade circle. Yi Shu, of course, was well aware of this trick. He didn't just stop and call it a day. Instead, he decisively leaped backward. He dodged the attack, but it was a close call that left him sweating. That little trick of holding back required some distance, and exactly how much distance was entirely up to the player's skill. If a rookie tried that, they wouldn't even be able to pull off such a trick. Among ordinary players, pulling off a move like that, no matter how much distance you hide, is enough to brag about. But Huang Shaotin's reverse stab, it held back a full half-body length. In all of glory, no one could match him.
Not bad at all.
Huang Shaotin let out a shout, deflecting Ye Shu's attack in one smooth motion, and felt his own fighting spirit surge. Especially now that Yi Shu was finally starting to look like an unspecialized. This was exactly what he had been waiting for. He finished the reverse gale thrust, and before he even landed, he thrust his sword upward again, not a blade master skill, but a spell blade's earth-splitting wave blade. These low-level skills didn't deal much damage to begin with, and the Blade Master isn't a magic-based class anyway. Most players only put a single point into Rift Wave Slash, using it for crowd control or as a combo link in certain situations. Huang Shaotin's timing was impeccable, striking just as Lord Grim was about to land from his backflip. But Lord Grim swiftly drew his sword, slashing it to the side in a silver light falling blade, sliding diagonally to the ground and dodging the wave sword's attack. Silver Light Slash, the very skill Huang Shaotin had wanted to use when Troubling Rain was blasted into the air, but it was still on cooldown. Yi Chu pulled that move while Lord Grim was still mid-air. It looked like nothing but a deliberate jab at Huang Shaotin,